I don't know if you can see that Space Weasels flag.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
That is my pickleball team in Tampa. We're the biggest dynasty. We've won 3 league championships in a row. So
Wow.
Get out.
yeah, pretty big deal.
Were you early to the pickleball experience?
Slightly, I think. So basically, I was on IR we played a ton of paddle tennis during the pandemic. With all my buddies on the Bucks, like Ryan Griffin's backup quarterback, good friend of mine. Cam Brate is a tight end. We play Adam Humphreys, and we just like needed to be active, So we'd play paddle tennis at this private court, and then they all, had to go back for football, and I was on IR. I was in New England at the time, and I was like, well, I need something to do. So I started playing pickleball like super aggressively.
That's amazing.
And yeah, it's my only competitive outlet at the moment. It's all I have.
That's what you're living for.
Yeah, and so now I hang these banners up at the back of my my little podcast setup, and like everyone, like the Space Weasels really appreciate it.
I love it.
They know that we're a dynasty, and everyone else needs to know that too.
Like to welcome Beau Allen to the show. Washed up former athlete. He didn't think I'd do it, but I'm doing it. Just kidding. Amazing NFL career with the Eagles, Bucks, Patriots. Won a Super Bowl.
Wow.
With the Eagles in 2018. Beat my New England Patriots. I'm happy for you, Beau. You're a member of the Green Light Pod with Chris Long and company, and you are one of my favorite follows on social media. So welcome, Beau. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'd rather hear that than Super Bowl champ. Favorite follow on social media. That means a lot these days. So
you're really good.
All I do is fuck around. It's incredible.
Well, that's sort of
That's kind of what we do on the Sports Gossip Show.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so Beau, my first question for you. You were at the NFC Championship game.
I was.
And you took a shot in the locker room with Lane Johnson.
I did.
According to your Twitter.
Yeah. I was drunk live tweeting the game and the post game. It was kind of a new experience for me, but it was fun.
You did a really good job. Your live tweets, it was mostly just like, I'm drunk, thanks to Nick Sirianni, Eagles head coach. And I was like, okay, Beau, go off. What was it like being in the locker room with your former team as a spectator?
It was cool. I mean, it was unique. Like first thing I did, I wanted to check out my old locker because I spent a lot of time in there, and Jalen Carter had my locker. So I was like, oh, that's sick because he's a great player, great young player. And he played really well. He's been really good. So that was kind of fun, but it's definitely an interesting experience to go back and, not be on the team, but be in the locker room. Like I almost felt like I was trespassing a little bit, despite the fact that I was completely making myself at home, but it was good. I mean, that's what's so great about the Eagles organization. I talked about this a little bit on the podcast, the Green Light Pod with Chris yesterday. We did a live show. It was a horrible show, but anyway.
Oh no!
Why?
We killed all of our brain cells on Sunday.
Oh,
so we
fair
were
enough.
trying to talk, and we were just like, ugh. But back to answering your question, the organization is so good to us as former players. Like they bring us in and they kind of just let us roam around the locker room and catch up with our buddies, and it was really cool. Like how it is post game, the guys are getting interviewed and stuff like that, and it was so cool to like steal Lane for a second and celebrate with him briefly and just kind of go check out the locker rooms. Hadn't been in there for a while and feel like basically just pretend like we were still on the team. But I mean, it was sweet. It was a fun experience.
It looked like you had a fun time. On the internet.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Eagles, you obviously won a Super Bowl with your pal Jason Kelce.
Yep.
They're going to the Super Bowl. They're playing the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Do you feel conflicted as a fan? Who are you rooting for? Is it a house divided in your brain? What's your thought process?
I know where my bread is buttered. I love going back to Philly. I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm rooting for the Eagles. That being said, like Travis Kelce's the man. I've gotten to know him through Jason. He's a super good guy. Like as talented as he is, and as much of a celebrity he's become lately, he's still just a super good dude. And so like, you know, to win 3 in a row, like that's truly like an incredible feat. And so I kind of want that personally for, you know, him. And then some of my other buddies like Joe Tooney, I play with him in New England. He's an incredible player. And I think he's probably won like 3 or 4 Super Bowls now.
Yeah.
Probably got to look that up, but you know, guys like Justin Watson.
We don't always research stuff here.
Yeah, I'm always shooting from the hip.
Same. It's like whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a little bit of house divided, but not really. Like I want the Eagles to win. Actually, someone asked me that recently. They're like, are you cheering for the Eagles? Because like you won the Super Bowl with the Eagles, the first one, the only one in that city. Like, are you like secretly rooting against the Eagles? I'm like, fuck no, dude. Like that's hater mentality.
Yeah,
that is hater mentality.
Can you imagine being like, I hope my former team doesn't win, so I'm the only one who's ever won. It's like,
yeah, that's not. I mean, that didn't really cross my mind. I like going to Philly and the energy in the city in the NFC Championship and like for the Super Bowl and stuff. Like it's so good. Like I don't know how, as someone who experienced that, I want all those guys to experience it too.
Yeah. I saw actually a TikTok I meant to tell you about on our Tuesday show, Madeline, but Beau, you'll like this. It was just a video of Broad Street after the NFC win.
Yeah.
And, you know, a guy climbing a pole because that's what they do.
Of course.
I don't think anyone punched a police horse this time, though.
Well,
yet.
You know,
right.
Talk to me in 2 weeks.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see. TBD.
But like the whole city was lit up green, and someone had put the song from Wicked of like "One More Day in the Emerald City." It was really
that's
funny.
Classic.
Philly's the Emerald City.
Yeah.
I actually watched Wicked. I went and saw it like 2 weeks ago, and it was unbelievable. Like I was ready to hate on it.
Yeah.
And like I've been singing all the songs. I've been listening to them too. Like I don't know what the fuck happened to me, but that's a good.
It's a good film.
Cinematic experience, yeah.
Now, here's my question about Wicked, though.
What?
Did you know going into Wicked that it was part 1 of a part 2?
That. Part 2 showed up at the end, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like,
you're like, that's the biggest plot twist in the movie.
when is this coming back?
I'm pissed. I'm like, personally, if a movie's that long, you should be able to tell me how it ends.
Yeah, it was long, and I saw it at
It's
Cine
so
Bistro.
long.
That's like one of the movie theaters where they like bring you food.
Yes.
And that just adds length to the movie. So that was like a 3-hour, 45-minute cinematic experience for me.
I feel like this is longer than the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Those songs, I mean, Cynthia Erivo really
she crushed it.
Amazing.
I thought Ariana Grande was really funny too.
She was good.
Like
so funny.
Yeah. And my only thing that I don't like, not to be a hater, but I don't understand the appeal of Ethan Slater. I'm sorry, like sexually, I'm sorry. Like,
we don't get it either. Listen, I'm a ginger, so you would think I would support a fellow ginge, but
I just don't get the whole drama with them.
I
don't get it. I don't
get it.
Anyway,
I don't really get it either. I think it's hard to unsee him as SpongeBob. Also,
yes,
he
agree.
played SpongeBob on Broadway. But I get, you know what? Actually, I'm going to defend him for a second. There's a moment in the dancing through life part where he's like winking a little bit, and I was like, okay, Ethan.
Wow.
Oh, okay, Charlotte.
I personally didn't feel that way. I was just confused about it the whole time, and I still can't really wrap my head around it. But
all right, well, rewatch that dance segment, Beau.
I'll check that
out. Okay, not to completely switch gears, but something that I really wanted to ask you is, what does it feel like to win a Super Bowl? Because I feel like that is a high I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's awesome. The really cool thing for me is I grew up in Minnesota, and the game was played in Minnesota, and like
that's right.
For that to kind of happen is like you never get happy endings like that playing football.
Yeah.
And like don't get me wrong, like I'd seen the fact that like I obviously knew being from Minnesota that the Super Bowl was going to be played in Minnesota. But it's like I almost didn't want to think about it, I was like, let's not jinx this. So that was like the coolest thing for me. Like so many of my friends and family were there, and like for them to be able to go to the game, and then we won, and we didn't have a great defensive performance outside of one play, and I kind of didn't think we were going to win at certain points during that game. But it's like such a good feeling. Like for like months afterwards, I was like, no one can tell me shit. Like I'm a fucking Super Bowl champion. I still kind of act that way, which maybe
I
isn't
think
great.
You can still ride on that high.
Yeah. No one can take that ring away from you.
Yeah. And if I'm ever having a bad day, I'll just be like, oh yeah, I won the Super Bowl. That's sweet. But it's a really good feeling. And but I think my favorite thing truly about winning the Super Bowl is we have that bond with those guys and that team forever. So ran into a bunch of old buddies from that Super Bowl team at the game this weekend, like Nick Foles and Brent Selleck. I hang out with Kelce a lot. All these guys, and we'll always have that. We'll always, have that to kind of bring us together randomly, and that's a really good thing because teams spread to the wins, but when you have a Super Bowl win like that, it always brings you back together, which is great.
Yeah. Is there anything about playing in the Super Bowl, as someone who's fascinated just by the
civilian,
as a civilian who's just fascinated with the Super Bowl, the logistics around the Super Bowl, that as an athlete playing in the Super Bowl, there's something anyone would be surprised to know about the sort of behind the scenes of playing in the Super Bowl?
I mean, there's a couple of things. The big one is it is just emotionally exhausting. And I don't know if part of that was because, it was in Minnesota and I had so many people kind of trying to get me to just pulling me every which way for tickets and appearances or whatever. And it's hey guys, I have a game I have to play here. And it's just so happens
to do my job.
Biggest game of my life. Yeah.
Right.
But it's also it's the end of a very long season. Your body's beat up. You just feel so fatigued physically and emotionally at the end of an NFL football season. And then you add in, the extra games of playoffs and everything like that. And then, you have so many different media obligations for the Super Bowl. You get really used to the routine during the season as a player of, on Tuesday's the off day, go and get a lift, do some recovery. Wednesday's our big run day, blah, blah, blah. During the Super Bowl, it's just, you have different media appearances and all these other added factors that are, it's just creates you really just have to stay focused and stick to your routine. So that's a big one. Then the other one is the game itself. Kind of going back to that routine, you get so used to, pregame warmups being so long and halftime is so long. That stuff is all lengthened during the Super Bowl. I mean, you have a massive halftime performance, you know what I mean? And so I think the halftime, it felt like it was an hour long. It might be way less than that, but I just remember it seeming so much longer than the halftime of a typical game. And then one other thing that was really weird is, Eagles fans travel really well. Patriots fans travel really well. Maybe they got a little comfortable with success and didn't show out for that Super Bowl quite as much.
Sorry. I'm I was a part of that. I had something to do with that.
It was really weird because during the course of the game, I was a defensive player. You get really used to, having crowd noise if you're at home and stuff like that. There's just a general buzz at the Super Bowl where the crowd isn't a factor in the same way it is in, other playoff games. So I thought that was really interesting too. I didn't really expect that. There's, definitely excitement and, a lot of noise, but it's not as directed as during your average, NFL game. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, any Super Bowl that I've been to that I was reporting on, it feels so corporate. You're like, what is this? This isn't a home game for anybody, but the Super Bowl, because it has, it's an event. It's the biggest thing. There is excitement, but you're the rhythms of the crowd are completely different. Mm-hmm. Beau, recently something that you've been doing that I've been loving is sharing Kylie's Corner with Kylie Kelce on Jason's late night show.
Yep.
How did that come about?
Yeah, it's been a new thing that I've been doing. It's so the late night, they call it late night with Jason Kelce is Kelce's late night show, and it's on a limited run right now during the playoffs. So we have one show left, which is Friday. It came about totally randomly. Obviously, I knew Kelce was doing it. We talked about it. And so I was going up for I think it was the wild card game. And I was just I'll go up early, hang out with Kelce, and go check out a show. Mm-hmm. I'm an hour out from flying to the airport. I get a call from Kelce. He's like, hey, I need you to come on the show tonight. We had some guests drop out or something. I'm like, all right, cool. Whatever you need. He's like, oh, yeah, actually, Kylie's sick. All the girls are sick. So, you're going to be up in the spot where Kylie's at. I'm like, all right, man, sounds good. So I roll from the airport. I land. I was going to go to the show with Brent Selleck, who's a good friend of mine, Philly legend. And he picks me up from the airport because he's a great friend. And we go right.
That is a great
Good
friend.
friend.
Yeah. Like, you know, somebody really fucks with you and they pick you up in the airport. Like,
Yeah, that is a tier 1 friend.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't.
Tier 1.
Like, there have been times where I've told my parents to call an Uber. You know what I mean? Like,
They didn't make the tier 1.
My parents regularly tell me to call an Uber. So
Yeah, right.
Shout out to Brent.
shout out Selzy. Anyway, Selleck picks me up, and it's like, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and the show starts at like 4. I have no idea what I'm getting into. I go up. And they're like, everyone's like, oh, you're playing Kylie. Like, have you seen a script? And I'm like, no, I don't know anything. And they're like, oh, well, maybe it'll be better that way. And I'm like, okay, totally. So they're like, well, we got to get you in hair and makeup. I'm like, okay. And then, so the person that does the hair, name's Libby. She used to cut us up every week in the locker room for the Eagles. So I was like, so happy to see Libby. I was like, Libby, like, what's up? Like, do you have any idea what I'm doing today? Oh, she's like, yeah, I'm turning you into Kylie. I'm like, oh, okay. So she like curled my hair, puts me in makeup, and they just kind of threw me out there, and I pretended to be Kylie in like basically full glam.
You can really carry. You have a face for makeup.
I was feeling myself. I'm not gonna lie. The hair felt good. The makeup was a little funny, but like, they did it subtly enough where like I had a lot of people be like, "Are you wearing makeup right now?" I was like, "Yes, I am."
No, the hair. Yeah. They did a very good job making it match Kylie's hairstyle too. Like the part was on point.
Yeah, that was a big part of it. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
No pun intended. So then it was. I mean, the show was really fun. It was a little chaotic, but it was a really good time. And then got invited back, so I've been going up every week and going on the show. And it's been fun. It's been very different. Like I've never done anything like that, so it was kind of cool.
You're a star, Beau.
I'm in my yes man era right now. But
it's a good era to be in.
Yeah.
I feel like now that you've played Kylie, you can sub in for her if she's ever sick on our podcast.
Yeah.
You just put you in.
I'll pitch that to Kylie.
Pitch it to her.
I think she'll really go for it.
Yeah, it seems like she'll be really.
Yeah, she'll be into
but
it.
that was not the first time. Like people mistook you for Kylie at a Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah,
right?
that was kind of the beginning. That was the genesis of that whole like bit.
Right.
Someone thought I was Kylie because Kelce and I were like dancing at the concert, and it was really funny. And I like couldn't imagine like that's a pretty high compliment for me,
Oh yeah,
the highest honor.
The highest.
Yeah.
Someone told. I mean, I've the complete opposite complexion of Kylie Kelce. This would never happen. But if they said I look like her, I would be thrilled.
You're like, thanks.
Yeah.
Now I have to ask, when you were at the Eras tour, what was your favorite era?
Ooh, I like 1989.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, just banger after banger.
Truly. I have to say, Reputation permanently altered my brain chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the Reputation Taylor's version to come out.
Yeah. Do you have any intel, Beau? Do you know anything?
I don't know
Taylor's
shit.
intel.
Okay. Like I generally don't know shit, and this is a topic that I truly don't know shit on.
Wouldn't it be funny though if Taylor were like, you know who I think I'm going to tell this massive secret? I think I'm going to tell Beau. I think Beau needs to know this.
He can break the news.
I would guard that with my life.
Yeah, you would.
Exactly.
As you should. You should. That's a good friend thing to do. You're under friend NDA.
Friend DA.
Best
friend
friends.
DA.
Pretty good.
I do have a fashion question for you as a former NFL player. Obviously, as a lover of off-the-field stories, the tunnel fits, I feel like, have become a bigger and bigger storyline among NFL players, NBA players, WNBA players, you name it. Mm-hmm. When you were playing, was that something that ever crossed your mind when you were walking into stadiums?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely evolved. Like, for me, like, we were required to wear a suit on the road for some of the coaching staffs I was with, and I kind of liked it. It's like you feel buttoned up, you feel professional, you feel like, you're kind of setting yourself up for success. But it's really become a thing. Like, I would always fuck around and wear funny stuff, like, after the game. Like, I remember I was thinking about the NFC Championship that we won just because of the game this week, but like I wore a Canadian tux, and I've always like been doing this. I remember that. Like Canadian tux is good for any occasion. You know what I mean? Like weddings, funerals, NFC championships.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Charlotte's like
funerals.
Well,
why not?
A
dark denim, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Dark denim.
Not like a light wash. But no, I mean that's evolved a lot. I remember seeing like Jalen Hurts' outfit. Like I thought it was sick.
So good. We were just talking about this.
Oh my god,
so good.
That fit of pant.
Oh,
I like it.
impeccable.
Yeah, baggy is
it looked good.
But I think it's cool. It's cool to see guys express themselves in different ways, and some guys love it and get really into it, and some guys don't, and more power to them. I mean, I just think it's fun to, kind of see what guys come up with, and whatever gets you in the right mentality for game day. Like for me, do what you got to do.
Yeah,
you had a good fit for the NFC game.
I was feeling myself. I'm not gonna lie.
Can you tell, for people who might not have seen it, can you tell the people what you put together?
This week?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this really cool vintage shop in Westchester, Pennsylvania called John Supply, and I've followed the guy on Instagram for a while. I bought this sweet starter jacket from him, so I was stoked about that. Yeah, vintage John Supply, and then I had some overalls, some Levi's light wash denim overalls. I had a Stoutland University sweatshirt on. Jeff Stoutland's, I think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. He's the O-line coach for the Eagles. And I will always love Stout because in 2016, I think it was 2016. Yeah, 2016, he got me to be a goal line fullback. And it was really fun for me because, any chance you have a tiny, very small opportunity to catch a pass or get the ball as an offensive, or when you're a defensive player, when you have that opportunity, it's sweet. So I would die for Stout because of that. But also, I just think he's a great guy, really good coach. So I wanted to rep him. And then I had some New Balance Joe Freshgoods 550s on that I have destroyed.
What color?
They're highlighter yellow, but I wear them so much, and they're like.
I have to interrupt.
You know what I'm talking about?
Wore here to record my Joe Freshgoods, the green ones.
Yeah.
They're like a light
Eagles
green.
colors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I wonder, were they from a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're from this. They had pink ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have 2 pairs of those. It's one of my favorite shoes.
Wow.
Shoe sisters.
Okay. We're shoe sisters.
Yeah, you got that swag. That was my fit. I felt cool.
Yeah, it looked great. I've noticed too, Beau, since you stopped playing, you've been expressing yourself through clothes and outfits, and I just think it's such a fun. I feel like athletes often, you're literally in a uniform.
Yeah.
You're literally wearing the same thing as everybody else, and so the tunnel fits are a way to express yourself. But also, once you stop playing, you kind of get to decide what your vibe, how you publicly want to present outside of that uniform. Is that part of it?
That's
at all?
Part of it. A big part of it too is I was 340 pounds and I couldn't fit in any fucking clothes that were cool. So I wore a lot of Duluth Trading Company.
So now you're dressing.
Now I'm out here dressing because I can
as
fit
you
into
should.
clothes, and I'm also bored as fuck, and it's kind of fun. So. But also, it is fun to express yourself and to feel it's nice to feel fitted up,
Yeah. Big time. Going back to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
For the Eagles, what's the most interesting thing about this team or interesting storyline or exciting?
I mean, for me, I think they're super talented. It's just, whether or not they can get the job done on the biggest stage. And I've talked about this a lot with Chris on Greenlight Pod. I talk about it with Kelce when we're fucking around on his show and stuff. But I truly think that they are one of the most complete rosters, one of the most talented rosters, and just the way that a lot of these young guys have developed over the course of the season has been so impressive to me. I talked about Jalen Carter earlier. He does things on the field, savvy vet plays. That you don't really see out of a guy that's in his second year. And I remember he pointed out a pulling guard from the Commanders in one of their previous matchups, and it was really impressive to me because that's shit I didn't pick up until later in my career. But then the defensive back end with Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, they played unbelievably during the NFC Championship game. So that's what I think is the most interesting thing to me is just how are these younger guys who have been such key pieces of this talented Eagles team, how are they going to perform in the Super Bowl? And I hope they play really well. And then another thing that I'm kind of watching for the Eagles, I talked about Jeff Stoutland. I think he's an unbelievable coach. I think the O-line is the biggest strength of the Eagles team. I think it's one of the best O-lines in the NFL. And, they've had some injury concerns. I don't think I've really seen anything about that today, but Landon Dickerson stepped in for Juergens, who went down, and Landon got hurt. And I just want to give those guys some fucking love because playing through injuries like that, like it's a constant thing in the NFL. But like, you know, those dudes, like Landon looked like they're tough as hell is really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the thing I want to watch. For the Chiefs, they just look so confident offensively, but I love watching them defensively. I think Spags is a really, really good coordinator.
That last play where the cornerback blitzed, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, and
it's diabolical.
He's so good in critical moments, which is exactly what you're saying. You know, bringing that pressure on Josh Allen, and a lot was made of that incompletion on that play. But like from a defensive player's point of view, it was like great call. Like, way to put the boys in a great position. And I just remember Spags and how effective he was blitzing against the 49ers, you know, in the Super Bowl in the past. So that's kind of what I like to watch. Is I think his defense is really cool and creative, and looking forward to seeing kind of the matchup with Spags and the blitzes that they have, and then, you know, the Eagles' offensive line and their offensive personnel.
A lot of the O-line went to Georgia. Is that correct? Is that...
Well,
there's
this like defense? I'd have to look it up. No, a lot of the D line. Jalen Carter's Georgia guy. Nolan Smith.
I went to Georgia, so
got it.
Anytime Georgia comes up, my dog ear,
my dog ears perk up.
My tail perks up.
Yeah. I think there's like 6 guys. I'd have to look it up. But I think there's a pretty good number. I think like on the defensive front 7, there's at least 4.
Are you going to root for the Eagles then, Madeline?
Beau, you're convincing me.
Hey,
you're convincing me.
Let me talk.
You know, I feel conflicted.
Beau,
I think Beau is throwing me off now. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to be rooting for the Eagles. Not rooting for the Chiefs. You are. Sports gossip show.
I got 2 screws rolling right now. It's really good for when I'm on the show with Chris because.
Oh, you can pull it up.
I can pull shit up so I don't just talk about.
Let's fact check this. Like I said, we don't fact check.
No, I should know this because we talked.
We dabble.
We dabble in fact checking.
8 Georgia Bulldogs.
8. See?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, all right. I don't know. You're convincing me. Maybe I'm feeling a fan now.
Honestly, from a fan point of view, I feel like it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
It's either a three-peat or the Eagles win.
Yeah.
And the Eagles, I think as a New England fan, like I have real respect for Philly fans because it's that like obnoxious, it's that same kind of like worst fans ever in a way that I respect deeply.
Yeah. You feel right at home.
Yeah, I'm like, great. Yeah, I'll climb a pole. I don't care.
I mean, I'm a Falcons fan. That doesn't.
Yes,
there's
sorry.
no. We didn't.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
That Super Bowl.
No.
We don't need to talk about that.
Definitely not.
28-3? Is that what you're referencing?
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Wow. Thank you so much for reminding me.
I didn't say it. Both said it.
Wow. Feeling a little triggered right now. My tail is going down between my legs.
Oh my God.
No, go.
Oh,
we
no,
just
no.
were going to speak at the same time.
We were going to say the same thing. So
no, go for it. You go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, Beau, something we like to ask our guests is favorite off the field sports story of all time. Can be any sport, can be as small or big as you want.
Let me tell you about my biggest athletic failure.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, this hurts for me to think about. Like I was saying, I got into pickleball. My partner for this league play in Tampa during one of the off seasons was Scotty Miller, who's a great athlete. He's a wide receiver. I played with him in Tampa. He's got super quick hands, but also like he's really fast. He runs like a 4.2.
Oh my God!
And he ended up signing in free agency, I think actually to the Falcons. And so he abandoned me, and I had to pick up a new partner. So I picked up a guy who's become a close friend of mine. His name's Chris Whalen, really good player. And we were in the championship.
Oh, no.
And we were up 2-0 on the championship court at HCC. It's like a really cool court. Like there's like pro games and stuff there sometimes. Like there's big bleachers. Chris and I just showed up. The dudes that we were playing, I've become close with them. But they brought like 30 friends. And it was me and Chris Whalen. And we were bawling. Like we were up 2-0. Then someone came and kicked us off the championship court, so we had to go change venues. And we ended up losing 3 games in a row and lost the fucking championship. And I played so poorly, and I think about it every night. And it was my biggest athletic failure. And every time I see those dudes, like they bring it up to me and it drives me fucking crazy.
Bigger than any game you lost in the NFL.
I mean,
bigger than any Rose Bowl.
Like I lost 3 Rose Bowls in a row in college, but this one still somehow hurts me more.
I'm so sorry
wild.
about. I will say,
sorry.
I don't think that's your fault. I think the fact that it is so country club coded to kick someone off a court during a championship.
This guy kicked us off, and I was so mad. He's like, "Yeah, we reserve the court." And then I look over at him, and he's just drilling. He's not even playing a game.
No.
I was furious. But no, I believe in accountability. I played bad, and it was fucking so hot in Tampa. This was in June. It was like.
Yikes.
95 degrees, 90% humidity. Every step I take on the court, sweat's coming out of the top of my pickleball shoes. I was like,
everything.
I felt like I weighed 500 pounds. It was so hot. And I sucked.
My God.
So
I'm sorry about
that's why
I'm
looking for a pickleball redemption arc,
Well, look, when it happens, let us break the news.
Well, you can.
I love how you asked me a question. I just gave you the total opposite. Like
No,
favorite
that
memory.
was the
Like
best
let me tell you my
answer.
least favorite memory. Actually,
No.
That's
the
actually
best.
far more interesting.
Yes.
Far more interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, we're rooting for you. We
Yeah.
We really should come play
We should.
pickleball.
I think we live stream the games.
Oh my God.
I'll let you know when our next one is. We're in between, we're in the off season right now, but February 8th, the new league starts up. So
Wow.
Okay.
We should do a sports gossip show watch along for Beau's live stream.
Yes.
Pickleball game.
It's good content.
Space Weasels?
Space Weasels.
Wow.
All right.
Well, Beau, thank you so much for coming on the Sports Gossip Show.
Thank you guys very much. Good conversations, and hopefully come back on sometime.
Yes, anytime.
We would love it. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. All right, y'all.